Hey there, it's Solomina here. You can call me Joe. Back for episode 33. I actually started this episode already, but my kitten walked across my laptop and ended it prematurely. I was saying in the last video that, in the Walk of Faith video, that I was homeless and didn't have anywhere to go. And I was homeless, living in a tent for a couple days. And it was pretty dicey, and I came extremely close to the edge. But my faith in God was well placed. Now I have a stable home. I even have a bed. So, it all worked out. Now we're starting at Joshua 10:29. This section is called Southern Cities Conquered. We're going to try to get a little bit farther before my kitten walks across my laptop again. Then Joshua, and all Israel with him, moved on from Makkedah to Libnah and attacked it. The Lord also gave that city and its king into Israel's hand. The city and everyone in it Joshua put to the sword. He left no survivors there, and he did to the king as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all Israel with him moved on from Libnah to Lachish. He took up positions and attacked it. The Lord handed Lachish over to Israel, and Joshua took it on the second day. The city and everyone in it he put to the sword, just as he had done to Libnah. Meanwhile, Horam, king of Gezer, who had come up to help Lachish, but Joshua defeated him and his army until there were no survivors left. Then Joshua and all Israel with him moved up from Lachish to Eglon. They took up positions against it and attacked it. They captured it that same day and put it to the sword and totally destroyed everyone in it, just as they had done to Lachish. Then Joshua and all Israel with him went up from Eglon to Hebron and attacked it. They took the city and put it to the sword, together with its king, its villages, and everyone in it. They left no survivors. Just as at Eglon, they totally destroyed it, and everyone in it. Then Joshua and all Israel with him turned around and attacked Debir. They took the city, its king, and its villages, and put them to the sword. Everyone in it they totally destroyed. They left no survivors. They did to Debir and its king as they had done to Libnah and its king, and to Hebron. So Joshua subdued the whole region, including the hill country, the Negev, the western foothills, and the mountain slopes, together with all their kings. He left no survivors. He totally destroyed all who breathed, just as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. Joshua subdued them from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza, and from the whole region of Goshen to Gibeon. All these kings and their lands Joshua conquered in one campaign, because the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned with all Israel to camp at Gilgal. When Jabin, king of Hazor, heard of this, he sent word to Jobab, king of Madon, to the kings of Shimron, and to the Akshaph, and to the northern kings who were in the mountains, in the Arabah south of Kinnereth, in the western foothills, and in Naphoth Dor on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and west, to the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites in the hill country, and to the Hivites below Hermon, in the region of Mizpah. They came out with all their troops, and a large army of horses and chariots, a huge army, as numerous as the sand on the seashore. All these kings joined forces and made camps together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them, because by this time tomorrow I will hand them all over to Israel slain. You are to hamstring their horses and burn their chariots." So Joshua and his whole army came against them suddenly at the waters of Merom and attacked them, and the Lord gave them into the hand of Israel. They defeated them and pursued them all the way to Greater Sidon, to Mishrephoth, Maim, and the valley of Mizpah on the east, until no survivors were left. Joshua did to them as the Lord had directed. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots. At that time Joshua turned back and captured Hazor and put its king to the sword. Hazor had been the head of all these kingdoms. Everyone in it they put to the sword. They totally destroyed them, not sparing anything that breathed, and he burned up Hazor itself. Joshua took all these royal cities and all their kings and put them to the sword. He totally destroyed them, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded. Yet Israel did not burn any of the cities built on their mounds, except Hazor, which Joshua burned. The Israelites carried off for themselves all the plunder and livestock of these cities, but all the people they put to the sword, until they were completely destroyed them, not sparing anyone that breathed. As the Lord commanded his servant Moses, so Moses commanded Joshua, and Joshua did it. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord commanded Moses. So Joshua took this entire land, the hill country, all the Negev, the whole region of Goshen, the western foothills, the Arabah and the mountains of Israel with their foothills, from Mount Halak, which rises toward Seir, to Baal-gad, in the valley of Lebanon below Mount Hermon. He captured all their kings and struck them down, putting them to death. Joshua waged war against all these kings for a long time. Except for the Hivites living in Gibeon, not one city made a treaty of peace with the Israelites, who took them all in battle. For it was the Lord himself who hardened their hearts to wage war against Israel, so that he might destroy them totally, exterminating them without mercy, as the Lord had commanded Moses. At that time Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country, from Hebron, Debir, and Anab, from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua totally destroyed them and all their towns. No Anakites were left in Israelite territory. Only in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod did any survive. So Joshua took the entire land, just as the Lord had directed Moses, and gave it as an inheritance to Israel according to their tribal divisions. Then the land had rest from war. These are the kings of the land whom the Israelites had defeated, and whose territory they took over east of the Jordan, from the Arnon Gorge to Mount Hermon, including all of the eastern side of the Arabah. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. He ruled from Aroer, on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, from the middle of the gorge, to the Jabbok River, which is the border of the Ammonites. This included half of Gilead. He also ruled over eastern Arabah from the Sea of Kinnereth to the Sea of the Arabah, the Salt Sea, to Beth Jeshimoth, and then southward, below the slopes of Pisgah, and the territory of Og, king of Bashan, one of the last of the Rephaites, who reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. They ruled over Mount Hermon, Salika, and all of Bashan to the border of the people of Geshur and Makkah, and half of Gilead to the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites conquered them, and Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave their land to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh to be their possession. These are the kings of the land Joshua and the Israelites conquered on the west side of the Jordan, from Baal-gad, in the valley of Lebanon, to Mount Halak, which rises towards Seir. Their lands Joshua gave as an inheritance to the tribe of Israel according to their tribal divisions. The hill country, the western foothills, the Arabah, the mountain slopes, the desert, and the Negev, the lands of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. The king of Jericho, of Ai near Bethel, Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, Eglon, Gezer, Debir, Geder, Hormah, Arad, Libnah, Adullam, Makkedah, Bethel, Tappuah, Hepher, Aphek, Lasharon, Madon, Hazor, Shimron Meron, Akshaph, Tanakh, Megiddo, Kadesh, Jokneam in Carmel, Dor, in Naphoth Dor, Goyim in Gilgal, Tirzah, 31 kings in all. When Joshua was old and well advanced in years, the Lord said to him, "You are very old, and there are still very large areas of land to be taken over. This is the land that remains: all of the regions of the Philistines and Geshurites, from the Sheor River on the east of Egypt to the territory of Ekron on the north, all of it counted as Canaanite, the territory of the 5 Philistine rulers in Gaza. Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron, that of the Avites. From the south, all of the land of the Canaanites, from Arah, of the Sidonians, as far as Aphek, to the region of the Amorites, the area of the Gebalites, and all of Lebanon to the east, from Balgad below Mount Hermon to Lebo Hamath. As for the inhabitants of the mountain regions from Lebanon to Meshvaroth Maim, that is, all of the Sidonians, I myself will drive them out before the Israelites. Be sure to allocate this land to Israel for an inheritance, as I have instructed you, and divide it as an inheritance among the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh." The other half of Manasseh, the Reubenites and the Gadites, had received the inheritance that Moses had given them east of the Jordan, as he, the servant of the Lord, had assigned it to them. It extended from Aroer, on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and included the whole plateau of Medeba, as far as Dibon, and all the towns of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon, out to the border of the Ammonites. It also included Gilead, the territory of the people of Geshur, and Makkah, all of Mount Hermon, and all of Bashan, as far as Salecah, that is, the whole kingdom of Og in Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei, and had survived as one of the last Rephaites. Moses had defeated them and taken over their land, but the Israelites did not drive out the people of Geshur and Makkah, so they continue to live among the Israelites to this day. But to the tribe of Levi he gave no inheritance, since the offerings made by fire to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, as he promised them. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Reuben, clan by clan: the territory from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and the whole plateau past Medeba to Heshbon, and all its towns on the plateau, including Dibon, Bamoth Baal, Beth Baal Meon, Jahaz, Kedemoth, Mephath, Kiriathaim, Sibmah, Zareth Shahar on the hill of the valley, Beth Peor, the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Jeshimoth, and all the towns on the plateau, and the entire realm of the Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled at Heshbon. Moses had defeated him, and the Midianite kings, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, princes allied with Sihon, who lived in that country. In addition to those slain in battle, the Israelites had put to the sword Balaam, son of Beor, who practiced divination. The boundary of the Reubenites was the bank of the Jordan. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Reubenites, clan by clan. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Gad, clan by clan: the territory of Jazer, all the towns of Gilead, and half of the Ammonite country, as far as Aroer, near Rabbah, and from Heshbon to Ramoth Mizpah, and Betonim, and from Mahanaim to the territory of Debir, and in the valley Beth Haram, Beth Nimrah, Succoth, and Zaphon, with the rest of the realm of Sihon, king of Heshbon, the east side of the Jordan, the territory up to the edge of the sea of Kinnereth. These towns and their villages were inheritance of the Gadites, clan by clan. This is what Moses had given to the half-tribe of Manasseh, that is, to half the family of the descendants of Manasseh, clan by clan. The territory extending from Mahanaim, including all of Bashan, the entire realm of Og, king of Bashan, all the settlements of Jair in Bashan, 60 towns, half of Gilead, and Ashtaroth and Edrei, the royal cities of Og and Bashan. This was for the descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh, for half of the sons of Machir, clan by clan. This is the inheritance Moses had given when he was in the plains of Moab, across the Jordan east of Jericho. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses had given no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance, as he promised them. Now these are the areas the Israelites received as an inheritance in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal clan of Israel allotted to them. Their inheritances were assigned by lot to the 9.5 tribes, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. Moses granted the 2.5 tribes their inheritance east of the Jordan, but had not granted the Levites an inheritance among the rest, for the sons of Joseph had become 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. The Levites received no share of the land, but only towns to live in, with pasture lands for their flocks and herds. So the Israelites divided the land, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Now the men of Judah approached Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, said to him, "You know what the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, at Kadesh Barnea about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land. And I brought him back a report according to my convictions. But my brothers, who went up with me, made the hearts of the people melt with fear. I, however, followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. So on that day Moses swore to me, the land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance, and that of your children forever, because you have followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. Now then, just as the Lord promised, he has kept me alive for 45 years, since the time he said this to Moses, while Israel moved about in the desert. So here I am today, 85 years old. I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out. I'm just as vigorous to go out to battle now as I was then. Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day. You yourself heard then that the Anakites were there, and their cities were large and fortified. But the Lord helping me, I will drive them out, just as he said." Then Joshua blessed Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and gave him to Hebron as his inheritance. So Hebron has belonged to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, ever since, because he followed the Lord, the God of Israel, wholeheartedly. Hebron used to be called Kiriath Arba, after Arba, who was the greatest man among the Anakites. Then the land had rest from war. The allotment for the tribe of Judah, clan by clan, extended down to the territory of Edom, to the desert of Zin, in the extreme south. The southern boundary started from the bay at the southern end of the Salt Sea, crossed south of Scorpion Pass, continued on to Zin, and went over to the south of Kadesh Barnea, Then it ran past Hezron, up to Adar, and curved around to Karka. It then passed along to Asman, and joined the Wadi of Egypt, ending at the sea. This is their southern boundary. The eastern boundary is the Salt Sea, as far as the mouth of the Jordan. The northern boundary started from the Bay of the Sea, at the mouth of the Jordan, went up to Beth Hogla, and continued north of Beth Araba to the stone of Bahan, son of Reuben. The boundary then went up to Debir, from the valley of Achor, and turned north to Gilgal, which faces the pass of Adamin, south of the gorge. It continued along to the waters of En Shemesh, and came out at En Rogel. Then it ran up the valley of Beth Hinnom, along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, that is, Jerusalem. From there, it sloped to the top of the hill, west of the Hinnom Valley, at the northern end of the valley of Rephaim. From the hilltop, the boundary headed toward the spring of the waters of Nephtoah, came out of the towns of Mount Ephron, and went down toward Bala, that is, Kiriath Jearim. Then it curved westward from Bala to Mount Seir, ran along the northern slope of Mount Jearim, that is, Kesalon, continued down to Mount Shemesh, and crossed to Tinah. It went to the northern slope of Ekron, turned toward Shikron, passed along to Mount Bala, and reached Jebneel. The boundary ended at the sea. The western boundary is the coastline of the Great Sea. These are the boundaries around the people of Judah, by their clans. In accordance with the Lord's command to him, Joshua gave to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, a portion in Judah, Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron. Arba was the forefather of Anak. From Hebron, Caleb drove out the 3 Anakites, Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak. From there he marched against the people living in Debir, formerly called Kiriath Sepher. And Joshua said, I will give my daughter, Achsah, in marriage to the man who attacks and captures Kiriath Sepher. Othniel, son of Kenaz, Caleb's brother, took it. So Caleb gave his daughter, Achsah, to him in marriage. One day she came to Othniel. She urged him to ask her father for a field. When she got off her donkey, Caleb asked, What can I do for you? She replied, Do me a special favor. Since you have given me the land in the Negev, give me also springs of water. So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs. This is the inheritance of the tribe of Judah, clan by clan. The southernmost towns of the tribe of Judah in the Negev toward the boundary of Edom were Kabzeel, Eder, Jager, Kinnah, Dimona, Adada, Kadesh, Hazor, Ithnan, Ziph, Telem, Beloth, Hazor Hatata, Kirioth Hezron, that is, Hazor, Amam, Shema, Molada, Hazar Gada, Heshmon, Beth Pelet, Hazar Shulal, Beersheba, Biriozathai, I'm going to say that again. Biziothia, Bala, Im, Ezem, Eltalad, Kezel, Horma, Ziklah, Madmana, Sansana, Leboith, Shillim, Ain, and Ribbon. A total of 29 towns and their villages. If you feel like I'm pronouncing those wrong, it's quite possible. You can always check the Bible and double check me. In the western foothills, Eshtaol, Zorah, Ashna, Zenoah, En-Ganim, Tapua, Enam, Jarmuth, Adullam, Succoth, Azekah, Sharaim, Adithaim, and Gedera, or Gederothaim, 14 towns and their villages. Zenan, Hadasha, Migdal, Gad, Dilian, Mizpah, Joktheel, Lachish, Bozkath, Eglon, Kabon, Lamas, Kitlish, Gederoth, Bel-Dagon, Nema, and Makkedah, 16 towns and their villages. Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Iftah, Ashna, Nazib, Keilah, Aksib, and Marishah, 9 towns and their villages. Ekron, with its surrounding settlements and villages. West of Ekron, all that were in the vicinity of Ashdod, together with their villages. Ashdod, its surrounding settlements and villages, and Gaza, its settlements and villages, as far as the Wadi of Egypt, and the coastline of the Great Sea. In the hill country, Shamir, Jachir, Siko, Dana, Kiriath Sana, that is, Debir, Anab, Ashtemo, Anim, Goshen, Halon, Gilo, 11 towns and their villages. Arab, Duma, Ashan, Jenim, Beth Tapua, Aphekah, Humta, Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, and Zior, 9 towns and their villages. Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Juttah, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 towns and their villages. Halhol, Beth Zur, Gader, Meroth, Beth Anoth, and Eltekon, 6 towns and their villages. Kiriath Baal, that is, Kiriath Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 towns and their villages. In the desert, Beth Araba, Middin, Sekaka, Nibshan, the city of salt, and El-Gedi, 6 towns and their villages. Judah did not dislodge the Jebusites who were living in Jerusalem. To this day, the Jebusites live there with the people of Judah. The allotment for Joseph began at the Jordan of Jericho, east of the waters of Jericho, and went up from there through the desert into the hill country of Bethel. It went on from Bethel, that is, Luz, continued over the territory of the Archites and Adaroth, descended westward to the territory of the Japhletites, as far as the region of lower Beth Horon, and on to Gezer, ending at the sea. So Manasseh and Ephraim, the descendants of Joseph, received their inheritance. This was the inheritance of Ephraim, clan by clan. The boundary of their inheritance went up from Ataroth Adar, in the east of the upper Beth Horon, and continued to the sea. From Mikmatheth on the north, it curved eastward to Tanath Shiloh, passing it by Genoa on the east. Then it went down from Genoa to Ataroth and Nerah, touched Jericho, and came out at the Jordan. From Tapua the border went west to the Cana ravine, and ended at the sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the Ephraimites, clan by clan. It also included all the towns and their villages that were set aside for the Ephraimites within the inheritance of the Manassites. They did not dislodge the Canaanites living in Gezer. To this day, the Canaanites live among the people of Ephraim, but are required to do forced labor. This was the inheritance for the tribe of Manasseh as Joseph's firstborn, that is, Machir, Manasseh's firstborn. Machir was the ancestor of the Gileadites, who received Gilead and Bashan, because the Machirites were great soldiers. So this allotment was for the rest of the people of Manasseh, the tribes of Abiezer, Halek, Azriel, Shechem, Hepher, and Shemitah. These are the other male descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph, by their clans. Now, Zelophehad, son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons, but only daughters, whose names were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They went to Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the leaders, and said, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brothers." So Joshua gave them an inheritance, along with the brothers of their father, according to the Lord's command. Manasseh's share consisted of 10 tracts of land, besides Gilead and Bashan, east of the Jordan, because the daughters of the tribe of Manasseh received an inheritance among the sons. The land of Gilead belonged to the rest of the descendants of Manasseh. The territory of Manasseh extended from Asher of Michmetheth, east of Shechem. The boundary ran southward from there to include the people living in En-Tappuah. Manasseh had the land of Tappuah, but Tappuah itself, on the boundary of Manasseh, had belonged to the Ephraimites. Then the boundary continued south to the Kenah ravine. There were towns belonging to Ephraim, lying among the towns of Manasseh. But the boundary of Manasseh was the northern side of the ravine and ended at the sea. On the south, the land belonged to Ephraim, on the north to Manasseh. The territory of Manasseh reached the sea and bordered Asher on the north and Issachar on the east. Within Issachar and Asher, Manasseh had also Beth-shan, Ibleam, and the people of Dor, Endor, Taanach, and Megiddo, together with their surrounding settlements. The third in the list is Nephoth. Now the Manassites were not able to occupy these towns, for the Canaanites were determined to live in that region. However, when the Israelites grew stronger, they subjected the Canaanites to forced labor, but did not drive them out completely. The people of Joseph said to Joshua, "Why have you given us only one allotment and one portion for an inheritance? We are a numerous people, and the Lord has blessed us abundantly." "If you are so numerous," Joshua answered, "and if the hill country of Ephraim is too small for you, go up into the forest and clear land for yourselves there, and the land for the Perizzites and the Rephaites." The people of Joseph replied, "The hill country is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites who live in the plain have iron chariots, both those of Beth-shan and its settlements, and those in the valley of Jezreel." But Joshua said to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim and Manasseh, "You are numerous and very powerful. You have not only one allotment, but the forested hill country as well. Clear it, and its farthest limits will be yours. Though the Canaanites have iron chariots, and though they are strong, you can drive them out." The whole assembly of the Israelites gathered at Shiloh, and set up a tent of meeting there. The country was brought under their control, but there were still 7 Israelite tribes who had not yet received their inheritance. So Joshua said to the Israelites, "How long will you wait before you begin to take possession of the land the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe. I will send them out to make a survey of the land, and write a description of it, according to the inheritance of each. But they will return to me. You are to divide the land into 7 parts. Judah is to remain in its territory on the south, and the house of Joseph in its territory on the north. After you have written descriptions of the 7 parts of the land, bring them here to me, and I will cast lots for you in the presence of the Lord our God. The Levites, however, do not get a portion among you, because the priestly service of the Lord is their inheritance. And Gad, Reuben, and the half-tribe of Manasseh have already received their inheritance on the east side of the Jordan. Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave it to them. As the men started on their way to map out the land, Joshua instructed them, "Go and make a survey of the land, and write a description of it. Then return to me. I will cast lots for you here at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord." So the men left and went throughout the land. They wrote its description on a scroll, town by town, in 7 parts, and returned to Joshua in the camp at Shiloh. Joshua then cast lots for them in Shiloh, in the presence of the Lord, and there he distributed the land to the Israelites, according to their tribal divisions. The lot came up for the tribe of Benjamin, clan by clan. Their allotted territory lay between the tribes of Judah and Joseph. On the north side, their boundary began at the Jordan, passed the northern slope of Jericho, and headed west along the hill country, coming out of the desert of Beth-aven. From there, it crossed to the south slope of Luz, that is, Bethel, and went down to Adaroth Adar, on the hill south of lower Beth Horon. From the hill facing Beth Horon on the south, the boundary turned south along the western side and came out at Kiriath Baal, that is, Kiriath Jearim, and a town of the people of Judah. This was the western side. The southern side began at the outskirts of Kiriath Jearim on the west, and the boundary came out at the spring of the waters of Nephtoah. The boundary went down to the foot of the hill, facing the west of Beth Hinnom, north of the valley of Rephaim. It continued down to the Hinnom Valley, along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, and so to En-Rogel. It then curved north, went to En-Shemesh, continued to Giloloth, which faces the pass of Adumim, and ran down to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. It continued to the northern slope of Beth Araba, and down into Araba. It then went to the northern slope of Beth Hoglah, and came out of the northern bay of the Salt Sea, at the mouth of the Jordan in the south. This was the southern boundary. Jordan formed the boundary on the eastern side. These were the boundaries that marked out the inheritance of the clans of Benjamin on all sides. The tribe of Benjamin, clan by clan, had the following cities: Jericho, Beth Hoglah, Amak Kaziz, Beth Araba, Zemaraim, Bethel, Avim, Para, Ophrah, Kephar, Ammoni, Ophni, and Geba, 12 towns and their villages. Gibeon, Ramah, Beeroth, Mizpah, Kephirah, Moza, Rechem, Irpeel, Tarala, Zelah, Haleph, the Jebusite city that is Jerusalem, Gibeah, and Kiriath, 14 towns and their villages. This was the inheritance of Benjamin for its clans. The second lot came for the tribe of Simeon, clan by clan. Their inheritance lay within the territory of Judah. It included Beersheba, or Sheba, Moladah, Hazar-Shual, Bala, Ezem, Al-Talad, Bethuel, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth Macbaoth, I didn't say that right, Beth Markaboth, Hazar, Susa, Beth Lebaoth, and Sharuhen, 13 towns and their villages. Ain, Rimmon, Ether, and Dishan, 4 towns and their villages, and all the villages, these towns, as far as Balath Beer, Ramah, and the Negev. This was inheritance of the tribe of the Simeonites, clan by clan. The inheritance of the Simeonites was taken from the share of Judah, because Judah's portion was more than it needed. So the Simeonites received their inheritance within the territory of Judah. The third lot came up from Zebulun, clan by clan. The boundary of the inheritance went as far as Sarid. Going west, it ran from Maralah, touched Debesheth, and extended to the ravine near Jokneam. It turned east from Sarid toward the sunrise to the territory of Kisloth Tabor, and went on to Dabaroth and up to Japhia. Then it continued eastward to Gath Hefer and Eth Kazin. It came out to Rimmon and turned toward Neah. There the boundary around on the north to Hanathon and ended at the valley of Ifta-El. Included were the Katath, Nahalal, Shimron, Idalah, and Bethlehem. These were the 12 towns and their villages. Their towns and their villages were the inheritance of Zebulun, clan by clan. The fourth lot came out for Issachar, clan by clan. Their territory included Jezreel, Kisoloth, Shunem, Hephraim, Shion, Enharath, Rabbith, Kishion, Ebez, Remeth, En-Ganim, En-Hada, and Beth-Pezez. The boundary touched Tabor, Shahazuma, and Beth-Shemesh, and ended at the Jordan. These were the 16 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Issachar, clan by clan. The fifth lot came out for the tribe of Asher, clan by clan. Their territory included Helkath, Hali, Beten, Aksheph, Elimelech, Amad, and Mishal. On the west, the boundary touched Carmel and Sheor Labnath. It then turned east toward Beth Dagon, touched Zebulun and the valley of Iphtah El, and went north to Beth Emek and Neel, passing Kabul on the left. It went to Abdon, Rehob, Haman, and Cana as far as Greater Sidon. The boundary then turned back toward Ramah and went to the fortified city of Tyre, turned toward Hosah, and came out at the sea of the region of Egzib. These were the 22 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Asher, clan by clan. My cat is so lulled by the sound of my voice you can see her sleeping behind me. We're almost done with this allotment business. The sixth lot came out for Naphtali, clan by clan. Their boundary went from Heleph and the large tree of Zenammim, passing Adami Nekeb and Jibneel to Lacham, and ending at the Jordan. The boundary ran west through Aznoth Tabor and came out at Hokok. It touched Zebulun on the south, Asher on the west, and the Jordan on the east. The fortified cities were Ziddim, Zur, Hamath, Rekath, Kinnereth, Adama, Ramah, Hazor, Kadesh, Edrei, and Hazor, Iron, Migdal, El, Horem, Beth Anath, and Beth Shemesh. There were 19 towns and villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Naphtali, clan by clan. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of Dan, clan by clan. The territory of their inheritance included Zorah, Eshtaol, Ir-Shemesh, Shalabin, Ajalon, Ithla, Elon, Timnah, Ekron, Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Baalath, Jehud, Benabarak, Gath-Rimmon, Majarkon, and Rakan, with the area facing Joppa. But the Danites had difficulty taking possession of their territory, so they went up and attacked Leshem, took it, and put it to the sword and occupied it. They settled in Leshem and named it Dan after their forefather. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Dan, clan by clan. When they had finished dividing the land into its allotted portions, the Israelites gave Joshua, son of Nun, an inheritance among them, as the Lord had commanded. They gave him the town he asked for, Timnath-Serah, in the hill country of Ephraim, and he built up the town and settled there. These are the territories that Eleazar, the priest, Joshua, son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel assigned by lot at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord at the entrance to the tent of meeting. And so they finished dividing the land. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Tell the Israelites to designate the cities of refuge, as I instructed you, through Moses, so that anyone who kills a person accidentally and unintentionally may flee there and find protection from the avenger of blood. When he flees to one of these cities, it is to stand in the entrance of the city gate and state his case before the elders of that city. Then they are to admit him into their city and give him a place to live with them. If the avenger of blood pursues him, they must not surrender the one accused, because he killed his neighbor unintentionally and without malice aforethought. He is to stay in that city until he has stood trial before the assembly, and until the death of the high priest who is serving at that time. Then he may go back to his own home and the town from which he fled. So they set apart Kadesh in Galilee in the hill country of Naphtali, Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, in the hill country of Judah. On the east side of the Jordan of Jericho, they designated Bezer, in the desert on the plateau in the tribe of Reuben, Ramoth in Gilead in the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan in the tribe of Manasseh. Any of the Israelites, or any alien living among them who killed someone accidentally, could flee to these designated cities and not be killed by the avenger of blood prior to standing before the assembly. Now the family heads of the Levites approached Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the other tribal families of Israel at Shiloh in Canaan, and said to them, "The Lord commanded through Moses that you give us towns to live in, with pasture lands for our livestock. So as the Lord had commanded, the Israelites gave the Levites the following towns and pasture lands out of their own inheritance. The first lot came out for the Kohathites, clan by clan. The Levites, who were descendants of Aaron the priest, were allotted 13 towns from the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. The rest of Kohath's descendants were allotted 10 towns from the clans of the tribes of Ephraim, Dan, and half of Manasseh. The descendants of Gershon were allotted 13 towns from the clans of the tribes of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and the half-tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. The descendants of Merari, clan by clan, received 12 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So the Israelites allotted to the Levites these towns and their pasture lands, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. From the tribes of Judah and Simeon, they allotted the following towns by name. These towns were assigned to the descendants of Aaron, who were from the Kohathite clans of the Levites, because the first lot fell to them. They gave them Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, with all its surrounding pasture land in the hill country of Judah. Arba was the forefather of Anak, but the fields and villages around the city they had given to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as his possession. So to the descendants of Aaron, the priest, they gave Hebron, a city of refuge for the one accused of murder, Libnah, Jatir, Eshtemoa, Halon, Debir, Ain, Judah, and Beth Shemesh, together with their pasture lands, 9 towns from these 2 tribes. And from the tribe of Benjamin they gave them Gibeon, Geba, Anathoth, and Almon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. All the towns for the priests, the descendants of Aaron, were 13, together with their pasture lands. The rest of the Kohathite clans of the Levites were allotted towns from the tribes of Ephraim. In the hill country of Ephraim they were given Shechem, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, and Gezer, Kibzaim, and Beth Horon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. Also from the tribe of Dan they received Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Ajalon, and Gath-Rimmon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the half-tribe of Manasseh they received Tanakh and Gath-Rimmon, together with their pasture lands, 2 towns. All these 10 towns and their pasture lands were given to the rest of the Kohathite clans. The Levite clans of the Gershonites were given, from the half-tribe of Manasseh, Golan in Bashan, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, and Be-Eshterah, together with their pasture lands, 2 towns. From the tribe of Issachar, Kishon, Daberath, Jarmuth, and En-Ganim, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. In the tribe of Asher, Mishal, Abdon, Helkath, and Rehob, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Naphtali, Kadesh in Galilee, a city of refuge for one accused of murder. Hamath, Dor, and Kartan, together with their pasture lands, 3 towns. All the towns of the Gershonite clans were 13, together with their pasture lands. The Merarite clans, the rest of the Levites, were given from the tribe of Zebulun: Jokneam, Karta, Dimnah, and Nahalal, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Reuben: Bezer, Jahaz, Jedemoth, and Mephath, together with their pasture lands. From the tribe of Gad: Ramoth and Gilead, a city of refuge for one accused of murder. Mahanaim, Heshbon, and Jazer, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns in all. All the towns allotted to the Merarite clans, who were the rest of the Levites, were 12. The towns of the Levites in the territory held by the Israelites were 48 in all, together with their pasture lands. Each of these towns had pasture lands surrounding it, for this was true for all these towns. So the Lord gave Israel all the land he had sworn to give their forefathers, and they took possession of it and lived there. The Lord had given them rest on every side, just as he had sworn to their forefathers. Not one of their enemies withstood them. The Lord handed over all their enemies to them. Not one of all the Lord's good promises to the house of Israel failed. Every one was fulfilled. So we'll put a pin in it for the moment, pick up next week, but to close off, we're going to say Psalm 14. And 15, since it's the 15th now. The fool says in his heart, "There is no God." They are corrupt. Their deeds are vile. There is no one who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven on the sons of men to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. All have turned aside. They have together become corrupt. There is no one who does good, not even one. Will evildoers ever learn? Those who devour my people as men eat bread, and who do not call on the Lord. There they are, overwhelmed with dread, for God is present in the company of the righteous. You evildoers frustrate the plans of the poor, but the Lord is their refuge. Oh, that salvation for Israel will come out of Zion. When the Lord restores the fortunes of his people, let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad. Lord, who may dwell in your sanctuary? Who may live on your holy hill? He whose walk is blameless, and who does what is righteous, who speaks the truth from his heart, and has no slander on his tongue, who does his neighbor no wrong, and casts no slur on his fellowman, who despises a vile man, but honors those who fear the Lord, who keeps his oath even when it hurts, who lends his money without usury, and does not accept a bribe against the innocent. He who does these things will never be shaken. Thanks for listening. Remember to pray, and I'll see you next week. Have a great time. Have a great week.